Magic is the most international of all art forms. If you try to persuade the East and the West to cross their music styles, they crash in your ears, you know? But if I vanished a pebble 2,000 years ago in the Gobi Desert to a passing native, he would go, wow, in whatever language he was using. And if in the next century, in the South Amazonian jungle, I picked up a pebble and vanished it, the passing spaceman would still go, wow. So it is truly the most international and timeless art form, and therefore it will always be.
The 36th Convention of Blackpool Magicians Club, I now declare it open.
Every year, Blackpool Place hosts the hundreds of magicians from home and abroad. They descend on the resort not to enjoy the delights of the seaside in February, but to immerse themselves in their common obsession, magic. The world's largest one-day convention is a showcase for what's new and a market for magical gadgets.
Do you want to see some magic performance?
The name given to the London-based group, the Magic Circle, might give the impression that it's the only one. But in reality, there are many circles up and down the country. The people who join them, of completely different backgrounds, ages and occupations, share one interest: magic.
The great thing about a convention like this is to meet old friends from all over the country, you know. Magicians that I haven't seen for years, some of them.
Chase the lemon, see if you can find out where the lemon disappeared to. Nola, please, Maestro. Thank you.
The British Magical Championships take place on the eve of the convention. This year, 18 acts were invited to compete. They perform in front of a highly critical audience of magicians, but it's a serious business. The overall champion stands to win a prize of £1,000. The enthusiasm of Blackpool is echoed in disparate groups all over Britain. The Middlesbrough Circle of Magicians is no exception.
I'm afraid I've got to take the blame for the circle being organised in the first place. That happened in 1953, Christmas. I was walking through the street.
The idea of the Middlesbrough Circle levitated out of the head of Martin Marshall, otherwise known as Martini. The twice-monthly meeting in a local community centre is as much a social event as a learning experience. Ending up in the pub helps the ideas flow.
From that time on, the circle just progressed in leaps and bounds and went on, you know.
Unlike the circle in London, Middlesbrough has always opened its doors to women.
Hand this over to you, Dennis.
Sheila McTurnan was last year's joint president, and she hands over to Dennis Templar, an interior furnishing salesman from Stockton, when he's not mind-reading. It's all very democratic. Each president can only remain at the helm for 1 year. A number of highly successful professional magicians cut their teeth in the Middlesbrough Circle. N.E. Daniels, better known now as Paul Daniels, is the circle's most famous son. Like everyone else, he too had to promise not to divulge any magical secrets to the uninitiated, although bona fide members obviously share new techniques.
Go around like that, snap my fingers and the first coin jumps up in the air.
flies round the room at breakneck speed and lands under... No, it's landed, Alan. Lands under that card there. Incredible, isn't it? Look, I'll show you that it's definitely gone. Don't touch, Alan. I'm the magician this time. Brilliant, isn't it?
Well, we have 3 chess pieces, and I want you to select any colour chess piece you like.
Well, I'm partial to red, so I'll go with the red one.
Right, now we have 3 little blocks of wood.
Middle for diddle.
The second coin is landed under there.
Now, would you like to change your mind with your little block of wood?
No, once I've made my mind up, I'll
Right.
stick with it, yes.
Well, are you surprised to know that you had actually chosen the correct match?
Now I'm surprised.
You're the two.
Yeah.
Quite nice,
Excellent.
isn't it?
Yes. How do you do it?
Nice little colours.
How do you do it? Don't tell us, don't
No,
tell
I
us.
won't.
They're far better than most circles. In those days, unbelievably, I was young, and I just thought they were all fantastic, you see.
Paul Daniels joined us about 3 or 4 years after we started. His potential was recognisable right from the start.
In the beginning, of course, it was the place that frightened me the most when I went for the audition, and they kept me waiting a month to say, you know, to let me know I was good enough. A couple of years later, I was president, and then I won awards all over the north, so it was good. Early days. We were always working with fellas like Martini. I always tell him I watch him and then I do it a different way. Yes, he's... We're great friends, and we can take the mickey out of each other.
I remember the first time I met him, he called at my house as I was secretary at the time to inquire how he joined the circle. I'll never forget it because it was the time of the Teddy Boys. And when I answered the door that night, he was stood on the doorstep, and he's not very tall, as you know. And his attitude was exactly the same as it is today. He's not frightened in coming forward. And his hair was done in what they called a DA haircut in those days, which I won't go into. But my first impression was, oh, my God, he's a Teddy Boy wants to join, you see. But in actual fact, he'd actually been to do a little show somewhere, and that's why he was dressed the way he was. I'm happy to say that he's still a member, of course, of our society. We're very proud of his achievements. One of the chaps who really went in for dangerous stuff was Harry Houdini. He would always accept a challenge, you see. By illustration, let me just show you what I mean by that. I need a coin just to... let's assume that that's Harry Houdini, all right? Now, he thought they were going to put him in jail and lock him up to see if he could escape. But they said, no, we have another idea. What we're going to do is to build a wall around you. And let these matches then illustrate the wall with Houdini inside. They actually built the wall around him like that. There's Harry Houdini inside the prison with the wall built up. Then they said, we need a roof on the top. Let's use this playing card. It's a joker, right? Harry Houdini was a bit of a joker anyway. So the card went on top. That represents the roof. And then to make sure that he didn't get out, they put a whacking great chunk of concrete on the top like that. Said, right, we've got him. 24 hours he was given to escape. And one of the police chiefs suddenly had an idea. He said, wait a minute. Supposing he digs down and digs underneath the wall and gets out at the perimeter, we won't see him go. So really, that block's no good on top. What we need there is a tower building up with some more guards on the top. So they took the concrete off and they brought out 2 more guards. And instead of the concrete, they used this as a tower on the top like that. And they put 1 guard on there facing that way, another guard facing the other direction. And then they counted 24 hours, and they didn't see a single thing at all. So they said, we've got him. He hasn't escaped. So the guards came down from the top. They took down the tower. They removed the roof, and Houdini had gone. Now, if ever I find out how that's done, Simon, I will tell you.
I'd like to know.
I'll bet you would.
I started off doing magic for friends and family, and most magicians do, and it always tends to be the more intimate card, coins, things like that. Smaller sorts of magic that then go on to cabaret, stage. I prefer the intimacy you can get with close-up magic rather than being on the stage. I work in nightclubs, hotels, restaurants, places where you're going to get the younger people in who wouldn't normally go to a theatre to see a magician, maybe. And you do tend to get people coming back because they know there's magic on there. It's just something different, an attraction that somewhere will have.
Over the years that we've existed, 6 of our members have actually turned full professional and are earning their living these days by performing magic. It wasn't until about 10 or 12 years ago that we did one thing which we were very proud of because we've been wanting to do it for a long time. We started what we now call a preparatory group. Originally it was called a youth section because we wanted to bring young people into magic and help them to progress and not come up against the pitfalls that we'd done when we were young because there was nobody to help us, you see. And I'm happy to say that after all these years now, that has really succeeded.
Good evening, gentlemen. Our first performer tonight is Mr. Jim Eden.
Thank you, gentlemen. What I'd like to do for you tonight is perform one of the magician's classics, which is the die box.
The more experienced members of the circle take the training very seriously. They regularly judge the performance and technique of the apprentice magicians.
We have just an ordinary box with 4 doors. Now, in this side, we have a dice, which we will take out. Now, for the time being, we'll just pop it inside the hat.
Jim, what is an ordinary box? It's a nice fancy box, but you said an ordinary box. I mean, all boxes are ordinary in that sense. You can call it a fancy box.
So we'll close it up.
Now, the object of the exercise is to make that die travel from the hat, invisibly, of course, into the box again. Ready? Up! There it is. Somebody's seen it. I heard that. And into did you see that box wobble a little bit as it went in?
Yes, it's gone from underneath the hat. So it's back in the box, as you say.
The difficult bit, as you'll all appreciate, is... I'm going to try it, nevertheless, madam, just for you. From the box, back into the hat again. Ready? Now, watch carefully. You might see it go this time. 1, 2, 3, up! There it is, a little higher this time. Going over the top, down, and into the hat. And, of course, it has now gone from the box and arrived in the hat.
Now, what we've got to do again is we'll make it disappear again. Okay? And we'll see that the dice has now gone.
The tipping over, it was tending to be a bit too much. Just a slight, subtle sort of tip over so that it can hear the necessary. That sort of gives it away without overdoing it.
It has completely disappeared. It is not in here.
No. I did tell you, if you remember, you've got short memories. There's a partition down the centre of the box so that you can't get from one side to the other. But just for you, I will show you the other side of the box. There's nothing in there. How's that?
You may not get the right audience reaction.
Pardon?
Both doors? Oh, you mean this door?
You've got to invite comment from the audience, as if you've heard things yourself, to bring it out from the audience point of view.
All doors? Well, you are a very disbelieving audience tonight, as you can completely see that the dice is completely gone, and as I said, it is underneath the hat.
Okay, no need to spoil it. What we do is we take the mat and we place it around the vase like so. And this time...
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you've already heard, my name is indeed Kevin Ray, and this afternoon I thought I'd begin by showing you all a little effect with a deck of playing cards. Now I know it's possible to cheat at cards.
The Middlesbrough Circle was very important in my development. They're by far the best magical society I've come across in the country. They really do teach you presentation, various technical aspects of magic.
Now, how would you cheat if somebody else cut and shuffled? I said I'd have to keep cards for myself before we started.
The Preparatory Group, that's an excellent idea. I used to go along and perform there to get the experience, constructive criticism that was given, and I found it an immense help indeed.
Well, you did actually have to handle all the cards in order to do that. Would it be possible to cheat if somebody else actually handled the cards all the time?
You can do close-up with a pack of cards and a couple of coins. Your outlay is very minimal.
Without the cards? without the deck of cards.
Well, I've always had an interest in magic from being a child. I used to like watching it. But I didn't realise, obviously, that you could go into various shops and buy different effects. And I'm required sometimes to go and do various trips throughout the country, the Lake District, etc. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be a good idea if I took up a little bit of magic to keep passengers happy and occupied and amused by doing various different effects on them, which proved quite satisfactory the first time I tried it. And this is where the interest originally developed from.
Jimmy.
No, Jim,
have it open.
Oh, sick.
Sick.
Sick of running around the town. Terrible. Hey, have you seen this one? When I go in the canteen, they ask me, is there any new tricks I can do? They're obviously very interested in it. You know all these roadworks that's going on at the moment? Well, I thought, what a good idea if they issued all the drivers this, because you can carry them in your red bag. And say you come to a traffic jam, a big tailback over the Newport Bridge, and you want to tell the other 226 to turn round, or to go a different way. So you have this arrow, you see, and you flash this arrow around like that, and you say, come off on the next one, come off, keep coming off that way. And the boss said to me, well, that's no good. What happens if you want to come the opposite direction? I said, well, that's easy. You just turn it like that and tell them they can come off in the other direction. So I said, well, that's not much good. What if they can come off either way? Well, you just turn it over again. They can come off in either direction if they wish. Or if you want, they can actually just tell them to come off in the same direction all the way. So he said, well, what if the road's clear? That's when you just simply turn it over like that and just tell them to go straight ahead because the road's clear.
It's a good one, though, isn't it?
That's self-made. I made it know myself. It's, yeah, it's called the Chinese compass. I get plagued to tell them how it's done, and this, obviously, I don't do. But obviously, you can't move the arrows because they're solid, like the solid arrows. If you tell anybody how it's done, which you shouldn't, the effect is no longer any good, and you couldn't do it again. Very good.
Will you make me one?
You know the saying? There are 3 rules in magic, and all others are in vain. The first one is practice, the second one is practice, and the third one is practice again. And you've got to keep doing it until you can do it blindfold. Then you can concentrate on putting everything into the presentation.
Do you want to change your mind? If I had your mind, I'd want to change it. You don't. Right. Get your ring like that, right? And you bang them together twice like that. And then you give them a little rub like that. Right, 1, 2, and a little rub, and you spin. I've done it wrong, haven't you? Come on. I'm teaching you how to do this. It's tap, tap, rub, and you give them a little spin like that. Tap, rub. Hang on, I'll do something. Quite simple. You give them a little tap, tap, rub, spin.
Spotted dog and flying fish, let's all make a magic wish. And underneath there we now have a magnificent ball of orange wood. No, we haven't. You know what to do now, don't you, when it keeps going wrong? We go in the corner and have a good cry. No, we won't now. I've got... This is the Rolls-Royce untangler. When those don't work, we use the Super Deluxe model. And all you have to do is to put the wool... It's got a hole at one end, and we put the wool in like that.
Children's parties are very important for many magicians because it provides them with many opportunities to perform. I find them quite stimulating.
Get hold of that tray and we drop it. Oh, oops, a daisy, silly. That's better. That's... No, I've just tucked it in.
It's probably the only branch of the performing arts in which you have a live show in somebody's private house.
Ow! Ooh.
Very few other entertainers, be they musicians or actors, ever have that opportunity.
Oh, we nearly lost there. Hoko, hoko, fried fish and cocoa. And in there we have 2 magnificent balls of wool. Ta-da! No, we haven't. I think I know what the matter is. It's the wrong person doing the magic. You take the magic wand and wave it over there and say the magic word abracadabra and try that one.
Abracadabra.
That's it.
It's a hobby which people take very seriously. You either take it seriously or you don't pursue it at all.
Yes! Look at that! Isn't that wonderful?
It's got so many branches to it that you have to, particularly when you're starting out, try them all and see which is the branch that you fit into the best.
So just wave it over that one. That's it. Now, this is the really difficult one. So if you've done that right, yeah!
And once you find an area that you're comfortable in, that's the one to concentrate on.
Now, what was the other thing that they had?
Your first priority is to keep them under control, because if you can't keep them under control, you can neither entertain them or mystify them. The second is to entertain them, and third is to mystify them.
And the fourth one, of course, is don't forget to get your fee before you leave.
I think as a kid I'd always been fascinated by magicians because they could do the impossible. They could saw people in half, link steel rings. So I think really my first initial interest in magic was to find how the tricks were done. I was always shy as a kid. And so when you showed somebody a trick and they said, hey, that's good, how do you do that? You grew a bit, so it's good for your self-confidence. I think my parents were a little skeptical at first when I started as a professional because my father, being a bank manager, wanted me to go for an occupation, a sort of proper job. And when I said, I want to be a magician, he said, no, I need a proper job, son. But once I got started, he was okay with that. I'd be 18 when I turned professional. I'd passed my A-levels, and we had the normal careers interview, which follows your A-levels. And the careers officer said, okay, in an ideal world, you want to find an occupation that you're good at, and that you enjoy doing. I said, okay, I want to be a magician. And once the initial shock was over, they were very helpful.
So Brian, who is now desperately wishing he sat somewhere else, if I was to put the ball in the pocket, what is under the cup? Go on, have a guess. What's under the cup?
The ball's under the cup.
No, it's a tomato. You like a tomato, huh? I'll tell you what, Ian, you're going to love the orange.
Because you're a magician, you're self-employed, so there's lots of advice you can get on being a small business. There's lots of grants you can get, such as the Prince Charles Trust, which can give you a grant up to £1,000 to buy equipment, and the Enterprise Allowance, which pays you £40 a week for a year. Luckily, I got both of those grants. Without those grants, I couldn't have got started. I wouldn't be here today.
When the ball goes across the jacket pockets, it never does. Always ends up under the cup. But when the ball, Sally, goes across to this pocket, there's nothing under the cup. It's only when the ball goes across to this pocket, the ball...
I like mixing with people. Just watching their reactions to magic.
Nigel, snap your fingers. You're a magician, Nigel. Is this too fast? Sally, we will slow this right down. Look, if I was to put the ball in the pocket and say to you, what is under the cup, you'd have a 50-50 chance of being right or wrong, because there might be nothing, but there again, there might be the ball. So Sally, who is now desperately wishing she sat somewhere else, if I put the ball in the pocket, I've been unwell, but I'm picking up now. You like that one, huh? I'll keep going, just pick up the ones you like. If I put the ball in the pocket, have a guess, what is under the cup?
Nothing.
A tomato. No. Look, you like the tomato, huh?
Oh, yes, I do, yeah.
I'll tell you what, you're going to love the orange. Let me show you something that's a little bit
That's the main aim of Close Magic, so people go home thinking, we had a good time, let's go back again. That's what I want, that's what the hotel wants.
That's nice of you. Thank you very much. There are only so many mechanical principles available to work tricks from. It's very, very difficult to find a new principle in magic. The only snag is if something is particularly good, then all magicians go and buy it. You need a constant search for things which are a little different. My grandfather was a joiner, cabinet maker, wheelwright, and what have you. And I think I picked up something from him.
Did he go back again?
Did he? He go back?
He's here.
Yeah,
he's here. There's the rabbit.
He's back again now. No.
He's not. Well, where can he be?
I don't know. We'll open the back door.
Ah! Here he is.
Here he is.
He's here. That's very good. Very good trick.
I'll show you something. Yeah.
Oh, good.
This isn't a trick as such. I suppose it's what you term a flourish with a deck of cards.
That's all there is to
Well,
it.
that's all right. That's brilliant.
You would not believe the amount of work that goes into something like that.
Do it again.
For a matter of seconds.
Very good, that's it.
You could practice that for years, trying to learn it to do it proficiently.
Do they ever fall all over the floor, sort of thing, when you practice it?
Very rarely when I do it.
Why?
That's sweet. Always take the easiest way out.
Sir, would you be so good as to tie that around my thumb with a knot?
During the day, I work at the British Steel Corporation Teesside Laboratories, and I'm a principal research officer in the refractories department.
No, tighter than that. Come on, keep pulling. It'll go red, then blue, then white, then it falls off. So stop when it goes blue. Keep pulling tighter.
Refractory materials are materials which withstand the very high temperatures and severe erosive conditions that exist within the various furnaces within the corporation. It's a total contrast. It makes a change from sitting at a desk or peering down a microscope or walking on the plant looking into furnaces to find out why they've fallen to bits.
So you've securely fastened my thumbs together with the flex. Can you see?
The funny thing is that when I give technical lectures to learned societies, it's not unknown for me to put it over more or less like a magic show at times.
It's passed completely through the wire.
In fact, I was sent on a public speaking course to calm me down.
Number 2, that's splendid. Number 3, that's it. And number 4, that's it. And you'll find that the rings are penetrated completely. We'd like to have a look at that. That's it. We'll now try and penetrate this very solid brass rod. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. That's it. Are you all right? Oh. Okay. Are you all right? Thank you. That's nothing. Thank you. Will you check the knots, sir? See, they're still the same as your tie. The knots are firmly... So. You all right?
Yeah,
Sir, if you go behind the table, you find a pair of tin snips. Cut through it without cutting through my thumb.
You can have accidents, can't you?
Oh, yes.
That's it, fine.
A lot of people who have been injured.
Yeah. Well, look at the bullet catching.
That's right. Everybody thinks of Chumley Sue, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When was that?
Wood Green Empire, 1918.
Yes.
In front of a packed house.
Yeah.
When he did the bullet catching as a Chinese magician.
Yeah. But other people have been killed since then.
Before. Yes. Afterwards, it was reported that Chung Ling-soo thought that his wife may have been having an affair with one of the stagehands, and he may have been killed. In other words, it would be murder. We know now, of course, these days, what it was all about. It wasn't murder, it was pure accident. And it was something that Chung Ling-soo thought would never happen in a million years. And I'm not going to give any secrets away, am I,
The most dangerous trick in magic, catching the bullet in the teeth. This is the trick that killed Chung Ling-soo. And this evening, catching the bullet in the teeth, Dolly Daydream! Now, as you can see, she is getting behind the shrapnel-proof screen placed there for your safety. Can we have the bullet, please? Special effects assistant Humphrey Pumphrey here is bringing on a 35mm shell, which he is placing into the cannon. Dolly Daydream will catch it in her mouth. Wider, wider!
David. Alas, poor Yorick.
Can you hear me? Don't nod your head if you... No, no, don't nod your head. Don't nod your head. That's it. Carefully. Thank you very much. Right, we're going to start the magic. Is everybody here? Yeah? Put your hand up if you're not here. Oh, right. Does everybody know my name? No? That's right, Martin the Magician. Now, I don't know everybody's name here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to count to 3. And when I count to 3, I want everybody to shout your name out just once after 3. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Right, okay, so now I know everybody's name, don't I? Yes? And you know mine. Grab a handful of magic dust. Open your hand. That's ordinary, just throw it away. Grab magic dust. That's it, right. Are you ready? I want you to throw it in, quickly. Throw it in all the way around like that. Quickly throw it in. I wish I had a camera. Oh dear. Right, quickly, all the way around. Put the lid on, Lindsay. Now, we've got to decide what we're going to make. So what sort of toys have you got at home, Lindsay? A what? A computer? Have you?
It's a talking one.
A talking computer? Yeah, I wish I had one of those. What else have you got? Have you got any cuddly toys?
Yeah.
What have you got? Have you got a teddy bear?
Yeah.
Have you? I haven't got a teddy bear. Oh. I said I haven't got a teddy bear. Oh. How many teddy bears have you got, Lindsay?
I've got hundreds.
Hundreds. Have you got them here? Have you got them here? Oh, that's no good. I want one now. Will you make me one by magic? Go on, make me one by magic. Take hold of the handle and turn it round like that. No, the other way, the other way, the other way. That's it. Fast, fast. Oh, stop, stop, stop. Did you hear that noise?
Yeah.
Did you hear that noise your arm made? Do it again. Stop, stop, stop. It's what? That noise, you should go to the doctor and tell me your arm was making a funny noise. It's what? It's not her arm. It's not a... Do it again. Do you know what I think, Lindsay? I think it's the box.
Yes.
Is it? Well, why didn't you say so? Have a look inside. What's inside now? What? There's not... Come here. Magic dust. What's inside?
Nothing.
Come here. Just pretend there's magic dust. What's inside, Lindsay?
Magic dust.
Very good, right. But there's not enough, is there? Because you couldn't see it. You didn't see it, did you? Put 2 hands in the air. Grab 2 handfuls of magic dust. Grab them tight and push them in right down. Right down to the bottom. Right, let go. Now, I'm going to count to 3 and everybody's going to shout abracadabra. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Abracadabra! Lindsay, do you know what that is? Yeah, it's a teddy bear. Take it out so you can see. Oh, look at that. Do you want, whoops, do you want to give him a cuddle? Give him a cuddle. Not too much because you've got hundreds. I've got one now, though. Thank you very much, Lindsay, for making that for me. Give Lindsay a big clap.
Today you have Aha and Wham. Well, then you had the magicians. It was top of the bill stuff. I mean, men like Dante, Calenagh, Cecil Lyle. These were the big names of show business. They were gentlemen. But show business changed, you know. And what happened was show business had all these funny noises in the background. And you don't hear that nowadays, do you, on the telly? But you had this sort of attacking approach of Bruce Forsyth when he came on with the Sunday night, the London Palladium game, Beat the Clock. He had a much more brash approach, attack. But Magic didn't. Magic stayed gentle and elegant. And so it became a little dated. So that was it, you know. Pause. Sir Organist, just while we record this, could you... Sorry.
Here we are in the Horseshoe Bar, the Winter Gardens at Blackpool. This is the hub. This is where it all happens. This is where magicians come to buy their new tricks, and it can be an expensive business. New tricks. You can buy them for £2 to £2,000.
One thing very much attracts me, and that is that organ over there. I think it's a beautiful thing. You can hear it playing, you see the little figures moving. It'd be a great crowd puller in front of a booth, I think. I see there's a for sale notice on it. I don't think I'll be buying it, though. I haven't even asked the price.
Take stolen checks.
Of course,
Lovely.
if you don't mind stolen books.
I've been with Cleveland Constabulary for about 3 years nearly now. Started as a PC and I've been promoted and I'm still a PC.
My wife finds out all this stuff I've been buying, she'll kill me. I always tell her to buy a pack of cards, you know.
Yeah.
One pack of cards, dear, that's all I got.
I'm on a Panda car now, actually. That's a bit of promotion for me.
Is that a new list?
If you get young kids who are in the police office, they're a bit frightened by what's going on. If I can show them a trick or make something disappear, it tends to ease their mind a bit. They can't understand why a policeman should do that sort of thing, so they relax a bit.
Actually, it was a bit dog-eared. I'll give you 15. All right, 20. Makes you realise you're not the only people in the world that are doing magic, and there's other people who are just as good as you are, if not better. It's good to see that now and again.
For such an innovatory breed, many magicians are strangely conservative when it comes to attitudes towards women. The largest and most prestigious magic circle, based in London, operates a men-only rule, and that must be why there are relatively few women magicians in the southeast. The reason why they are banned is a little obscure. There are even reports that London magicians are convinced women can't keep secrets.
When I was 14, the Magic Circle had a competition that only let boys into it, never let any girls into it. And I managed to force a referendum, and Equal Opportunities picked it up, and eventually they allowed girls into it. And since I was 18, I've been battling to get into the actual circle. Last year they forced a worldwide referendum, and the votes went worldwide after going to London. And I think it was 56% were against it, 44% were for it. A lot of magicians just think all women are good for being assistants and not to be out there on the front. One particular magician said to me, I don't know why you want to be a magician, all women are good for putting in boxes and sawing in half, and that's about it. I thought, charming.
God, no. Put plenty of that on your stink. It's hairspray.
Like all needle competitions, magical ones bring on pre-performance nerves. Clive Webb and his team backstage aren't so much interested in transposition or transformation as making the audience laugh. He's only got 10 minutes on stage to prove himself as being worthy of the title British Magician Grand Prix Champion.
You've got 10 minutes here, and then a red light comes on, and then you've got 1 minute to finish before they close the tabs. Normally I would do an hour. It's the beginning where normally you would get into telling a few gags and trying to set it up. But we've got to get over that to try and get them laughing before we get into the magic, that's the difficult part of it. But I think we've got it sussed. Haven't we, gang?
I think so.
I hope so. And now a brand new trick. Magic moments, please. Thank you. I used magic as a vehicle for comedy. I use it to get laughs, like Bobby Davro would use impressions to get laughs. I use magic to get laughs. A pig! I'll do a lot of comedy magic, and then I'll do a real trick and baffle them. I am going to hypnotize the rabbit. This does not harm the rabbit in any way. You're sleepy. You're tired. You're tired, you're sleepy. Your eyes are getting heavy, your legs are getting heavy. You're sleeping, on your back, you're sleeping. Sleeping, sleeping, sleeping. All the time sleeping. You're sleeping. Wake up! It's knowing how to handle the situation with the public when you get out there. That's what it boils down to, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and we know how to handle the bastards, don't we? Fire eating, very dangerous. We do, don't we? Yeah. If they don't laugh, set fire to them. That's my motto. tongue, on the tongue. The human volcano.
Clive does a funny act. I don't think it's funny magic. It's a funny act. I don't think Tommy Cooper did a funny magic act. There's comedy send-up of magic, and there's comedy magic, in which magic really happens.
God bless him, Tommy Cooper was the best at comedy magic. He did about one trick, here you go, like.
The disappearing tea set.
That's what they love it.
And the tea set has completely and utterly disappeared. The tea set is not there. Not there, not there, not there, not there. The tea set has gone. The pigeon in the balloon. Dolly Daydream has the balloon, I have a sword. I'm going to stick the sword right through the balloon. The pigeon will jump out of the balloon, perch onto the sword, and whistle his happy little tune. Thank you. Drum roll, please. Thank you. 1, 2. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. The disappearing goldfish bowl. Dolly Daydream here has a goldfish bowl full of very live goldfish. Look at them happily swimming around in their tank. I am going to make the whole shebang disappear before your very eyes. Drum roll, please. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. I'm baffled, you, aren't you, eh? You're baffled, aren't you, eh?
There will always be the several faces of magic. You will have the manipulators, you'll have the illusionists, you'll have the close-up boys, you'll have the clowns, and you'll have the geniuses. Modesty prevents me naming the genius. You asked for that, didn't you?
We'd arranged if we saw that light, everybody's going to panic. Panic!
Panic.
Because you've got a minute then to get it in before somebody comes on stage. Not yet, not yet. The timekeeper was about as useful as a condom machine at the Cliff Richard concert, wasn't he?
As it turned out, Clive did beat the other acts and was judged this year's British champion, taking away £1,000 in prize money and the acclaim of his peers. The rabbit recovered as well.
Some of Mr. Webb's material was slightly off colour, and he closed his act with the ultimate in lavatorial humour. That was the luxury in Paul. We should have to pay money for a good line like that, wouldn't you? Subtle for the
Because you
luxury.
did I thought, where is he? You want to know where we put the light bulb? Oh. Where's he got his back, has he? Hey? Where did you put it? He just threw it. I threw it. I have no idea where the damn thing went. I think it went to somebody's mouth as it happened. Oh.
I think the public get a lot of pleasure out of watching, and I don't think audiences like to see magic exposed deliberately. They'd find that if they did discover the secret, they would be very disappointed.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the magic with a little box.
It's the whole art, isn't it?
Look inside, it's quite empty.
Without secrecy, we wouldn't have any magic, because all magic is simple.